Hello children, welcome to social science class. Today we are going to see the next chapter that is about new kings and kingdoms in history. So you all know that India got independent from the British. Then who have ruled our country before British? Yes. So here comes so many kings and so many rulers have ruled our country before the British were ruling over. So here in the last class we saw that how great history has been started in the 700 to 1200, isn't it? So here in this class, in this chapter, we are going to learn how the new kings and the kingdoms have been evolved during the 7th to 12th century. So as we all know that in which century we are all now? We are all in the 21st century. So here we are going to learn in the second chapter from the century that is about 7th to 12th century, who are the kings and whoever ruled over the kingdom at that particular time, we are going to learn about it. So before entering inside the chapter, just we need to recollect three words. What are they? That is about dynasty, kingdom and empire. Can you remember what do you mean by dynasty? So a dynasty means a family of rulers. That means, for example, the great grandfather as one who was ruling the particular place. So the next who has to rule that grandfather. Then who will come? The father. Then who will come? The son. Then who will come? The son, the grandson. So it goes on, right? So here is the thing that is of a family of rulers, one who ruled that particular place or that particular country for a long period of time. So there won't be the chance may not be given to another person. So the whole family will be going on ruling over that. So we'll tell it as dynasty. Then what do you mean by kingdom? Kingdom means, for example, any country which is ruled by a king or a queen. So we'll tell it as a kingdom. So it is considered to be a kingdom then. Then what do you mean by empire? An empire means it consists of different regions and nations around it. So we'll tell it as in the last previous lesson we saw that pan-regional empire, isn't it? So we all know that each and every king from each regions, they won't put into their idea, they'll be asking the other ideas, they'll be considering, isn't it? So empire means an empire is a large kingdom and it consists of different regions, isn't it? So that is known as empire. So we come to know these what do you mean by dynasty and kingdom and empire, right? So these are the three things we need to mainly know about it. The next thing we are going to see is about, you can see that many new dynasties are found in the 7th century. You can see this, you can observe this map. So what can you observe in this map? So here you can see different colors have been mentioned for each and every region. Can you see that? So here this could see, you could see the different regions with different colors. So this shows who are the kings who ruled over that particular place at what time, and who are the kingdoms, who are the kings, those who ruled over the around empires, the dynasties. All these things will be mentioned mentioned in that color, so that it will be very easier to identify those places which are ruled by certain kings. Okay, now we are going to see how the kings and the kingdom formed in the 7th century in this chapter. So can you tell me that as I told you, as we are living in the 21st century, but we are going to know what happened in the 7th till 12th century in this chapter. So here I'm going to tell you like a story that landlords. Do you know who is meant by landlords? Landlords are also known as warrior chiefs, and they were ruling the regions. So here after the landlords, Samantas will be there. So what is the main work of these Samantas means? These Samantas, what they'll do, they'll be working under the landlords. So okay, landlords will be like a king, because landlord means is a person, one who owns big lands of subcontinent. He may have lots of land. For example, in Tamil we'll tell jamindar. So what jamindar, how we call it as jamindar, because 6 to 7 or 8 to 8 villages he'll be ruling over that, isn't it? So the jamindar is a particular person, one who rule over that 6 to 8 villages, isn't it? Same like that, the landlords means he's a big person, one who owns a big lands of the subcontinents. Okay, so same like that here, after the landlord, Samantas will come. So what is the main work of this Samantas means? They'll be subordinating the landlords. How? By giving the gifts, like by presenting the gifts often, and they'll be collecting the tax from all the people, like as we saw in the previous lesson. The rich people will get into the temple, the poor people, they won't go because of the occupation. So here the tax have been collected, and collected by the Samantas, and they'll be submitting to the landlords. And the next work is about they'll be providing the military supports, and they were all present in the courts. So these are the thing done by the Samantas to the landlords. So these are the works the Samantas will do for the landlords. But suppose when the Samantas became rich, when the Samantas were very powerful and wealthy, means what they'll do, they will overthrow the landlord and they'll be ruling the kingdom. So that is the main thing here you have to know between the landlords. So first I told you the landlord is a person, one who owns the land, particular land, to rule over that. So here the next person we saw about that Samantas. So the Samantas work is to do all the work like tax collecting, submitting that, giving the gifts often, and providing the military support, and they'll be presenting their courts. But when the Samantas very powerful, when they change into wealthy, what they'll do, they'll overthrow this landlord and they'll sit in that place and they'll rule the kingdom. So here the Samantas, they themselves call them as Samantas, or they'll call it as Maha Mandaleshwara. So here what do you mean by Maha Samanta and Mandaleshwara? Means the great lord of circle. That means it's a place, a great lord of a particular place or a region. Did you get me? Circle means it's a particular place or region. So the Samantas, one who are very well in wealthiness, and he's showing the power of army, means he'll be thinking that they themselves will declare that they are all Maha Samanta, and they'll be declaring it as Maha Mandaleshwara. Did you get me? And so on. So sometimes they asserted their independence from their overlords. So what they'll do, they'll rule over the landlord place. So this is the work here. So here one such instance was that happened in the another kingdom, that is about Rashtrakutas in the Deccan. So same like that, this Rashtrakutas, this is an example of Samantas. So here the Rashtrakutas were the Samantas. They are taking over the power, and initially they were not rulers. So same like that, as we saw the work there, so they gave the gifts to Chalukyas. So here the landlords are Chalukyas. So the Chalukyas were the landlords at the particular time. So here that means Chalukyas are the landlords of particular Karnataka, the place Karnataka. And what happens here, the Rashtrakutas were the Samantas at that particular time. So here what happens in the mid-8th century, the Danti Durga. So this Danti Durga, a Rashtrakuta chief, he is entering inside the Chalukyas kingdom, and what he is doing, he becomes the wealthy person. So what he is doing, he is doing all the work to the Chalukyas. What are the work? Because Rashtrakuta is the Samanta and Chalukya was the king who was ruling the particular region. So Rashtrakuta is the Samanta. She is doing all the work. What are the work? Providing military force, and he'll be living in the court, and as we saw in the thing that he'll be giving present to the Chalukyas. All these things will be tax collecting and submitting to the Chalukyas. All these things will be happen there. So later on what they did, they become the wealthy person, and here they overthrew this Chalukya, and here what they are doing, they performed a ritual called Hiranya Garbha. So here they are doing the ritual. Ritual means puja like. So as Hindus and all will do, you will keep one statue there and you'll be praying with that, right? So you'll be making puja with a flour of some with the varieties of vegetables, with some sweets, everything. So it's same like that. They are making a ritual worship that is called as Hiranya Garbha. So that means it's literally the golden womb. What do you mean by womb? So as you are all born from the womb, isn't it? So our mother kept us in the mother's womb for 10 months. After that only we are entering inside the world, isn't it? So same like that here, what they are thinking, that when they did this ritual puja like Hiranya Garbha, they think that they may rebirth. There was rebirth as Kshatriya, it seems. So when they are doing this puja, they'll become the Kshatriya. So it's their mentality. When they did this puja here, Hiranya Garbha, they'll become the Kshatriya, it seems. So here this ritual was performed with the help of Brahmanas. So today's class we learnt about the different regions. It was given in the different colors, because to understand who are the kings who has ruled at that particular time, isn't it? So they have given the different colors in the map, and we learnt about the Samantas. First we learnt about the big landlords and what are the thing they'll do. They'll be owning the particular place like Jamindars, and we saw about the Samantas like Jamindars, the landlords will work like a Jamindars, and here next to it we saw about the Samantas, that they'll do all the work for the landlords. So later on, if they become wealthy, means they'll overthrow that place, they'll overthrow the landlord, and they'll be standing at that particular place. So same thing happened in the Deccan, that is about Rashtrakuta as the Samantas. They were doing all the work for the Chalukyas. Here the Chalukyas became the came down. They were overthrown by the Rashtrakuta. So here what they are doing, they are performing a ritual called Hiranya Garbha. So it is known as the golden womb. So this was performed by the Brahmanas, and this was done because this ritual puja has been done because they think they have rebirth. They have given the rebirth and they have changed into Kshatriya. So this is the thing we learned today. So I'll actually this 3 paragraph alone, you just read it from NCERT book, that is from page 16 and 17, from here till here. So when you read it, you will get into the thing what I have explained, and I'll give you the geography question answers book back question which is given in the NCERT book as well as the lead school book, and I'll give you the answers to learn. Just copy that in your classwork site. So that means the NCERT book back questions will be copied in the classwork site, and the practice question which are given in the book can be written in the lead school itself. So some of the questions you have to write it in the rough work. So I hope that you all understand today's class. Thank you, my dear children.